Welcome to the Quickly Coolest. I'm the Monk, and today we are in Star Wars Squadrons. So it's time for me to do an online review. Now, like you all know, or may have seen, I have already done a review for the story mode on Star Wars Squadrons, in which it received quite a low score from me. Since then, we have had 2 updates or patches, and they have fixed a number of things, and finally, for me, the game is actually working. So I was actually able to enjoy the story mode again. I can do an updated review on that a little bit later. But I figured I'd get into the multiplayer review as I hadn't actually done one for that yet. Now, Star Wars Squadrons actually contains 2 online multiplayer modes: dogfights and fleet battles. Now, fleet battles can be actually played in single player. You don't have to be playing with anyone else. You can play completely AI if you wish to do so. I think maybe it's a good idea to start doing that. That way you get an idea of what that mode is. But for me, the fleet battles are where this game actually comes into its own. I guess it doesn't come into its own because this does remind me hugely of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, I'm not talking about the latest EA version on it. I'm on about the original version. You know, the original Star Wars Battlefront. Now, in that game, you would have to, you'd have to shoot down the relay, you'd have to shoot down the engines and stuff like that. And that's kind of similar to what you can do in the fleet battles. You know, you have frigates and all kinds of other things, and you have to very slowly hack away at the defenses of the main ship, and hopefully, in the end, win the battle. I quite like that aspect. Like I said, it did remind me a little bit of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Of course, maybe it's done a little bit better now, but I still have fond memories of that game. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 5v5 battles are pretty good. They are fun, they can be difficult as well, but I think the fleet battles really, for me, is where this game shines. I do wish you could have more than 5. I mean, what is it, 5v5? I mean, this is 2020, why can't we have 20v20? I feel like these battles are a little bit too small, and if you're in the Star Wars universe, it just wouldn't happen. You know, I can't imagine 5v5 actually happening in the Star Wars universe. You know, we are talking about, when you see a TIE fighter, you don't just see one TIE fighter, do you? You see 20 of them, you know, you see a dozen of them. There are a lot, and they are endless. And I just wish you could actually experience those full battles with more than 5 people, because unfortunately, even on fleet battles, it's still 5v5. Yeah, there's other ships around, there are other things going on, there are frigates and cruisers and whatever, but it is still ultimately just 5 players against 5 other players. That brings me into the actual ship types itself. So there's nothing new here. The ship types in this game are all exactly the same as they are in single player and story mode. So you have the fighter, interceptor, support and bomber, and this is no matter which side you fight on, whether you fight for the rebels or whether you fight on the Empire. You have the different, obviously, the TIE Fighter or the X-Wing, but they're the 4 classes that you get. And unfortunately, they've gone on record saying that they don't plan on bringing any more different ship types into the game. And at the moment, unfortunately, there are no more modes being added into this game as well, which I think is real disappointing, because this game hasn't been out long, and already people are wanting more. You know, they like this game. It's priced really good. The game's actually starting to work well now as well, and people are really enjoying it, you know. But unfortunately, there just isn't enough probably to keep this game going for very long. You know, the longevity in this game, I just can't see it lasting more than a few months, unfortunately. However, that brings us into the customization options in this game. Now, there are quite a few different ways that you can actually customize a ship. You can change the color of the ship, you can change your outfit yourself as the pilot. Not that you actually see your pilot that often, apart from maybe at the end or maybe at the beginning of each round. You can customize the inside of your ship, the actual cockpit itself. You can get holograms, you can get little bobbleheads. You can change quite a few different options. It does cost you know, it does cost a in-game currency, but you can actually grind out this in-game currency. Hold on a minute. This is an EA game, right? And there's no microtransactions? That's right, there are no microtransactions in this game. Everything customization wise that can be put in this game or is in this game can be accessed through just grinding the game out. Maybe this is a big step to actually make this game longer. You know, maybe this is where the longevity side of it comes in. This is how they've tried to stretch this game out. But yeah, every single customization piece in this game, even as down to having an AT-AT hanging down off the top of your ship, it can be got through playing the game. And just playing the game, winning matches, you'll earn a certain number, and then you can unlock it in the character customization to actually be put in your ship. And it doesn't take too long to actually earn enough to buy one or two of these items. Now, of course, if you want to completely kit out your ship with the most unique, the most flashiest things there are in this game, it is going to take a fair bit of time. And I really do think that this is where EA are trying to get people to actually play this game longer than maybe they would have before. But that being said, you know, there are some pretty cool things in the customization side of it, and I personally do want to grind out a few of these myself, so I probably will do so. So I guess they did get me there, so well done, EA. But that also leads you to the ship loadout, and maybe where the hardcore players of this game are actually going to get an edge over just the casual players, because you can change how your ship is set up and how every ship you have is set up. This again costs in-game currency, but of course you can grind this out anyway. It's not really too much of a problem. All you have to do is actually play a few rounds of this game. Now, when I say you can actually change everything about the ship, I mean you can change pretty much everything about the ship. You can change the engines, you can change the droids, you can change the different types of weapons on the ship and the different types of shields and engines. You know, I've said engines twice now, but maybe you can have two engines. Maybe I haven't discovered that yet. But yes, you can change the complete loadout of your ship, and I really do think that that's where the hardcore players in this game are actually going to get an edge over the casual players. I think there's a huge learning curve there with that, the right type of weapons to actually use. And I think maybe this game's a little too early for people to know what the correct setup for each type of ship you get is. But if you guys are interested in that, that is something that I could definitely doing and telling you what I would use my ships. But I think I'm going to leave it here for this one. Overall, I really enjoyed the multiplayer. I'm not going to give this a score review because I believe it's very much the whole review. But what I would say is I think that considering that I only two real modes in the online, and you know, it does have a single player, there is an online. The single player is a little bit too short, so I'd definitely give the online an actual go. It is fun. It is definitely enjoyable, and it's also very, very challenging. I think that it's worth it. I really do. I think that if you bought the game already, definitely give the online mode a go, because after all. Anyway, I've been Monk and we've been the Critical Reviews. If you have enjoyed this review, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you want to see more reviews like this, don't forget to subscribe as well. And of course, pop your thoughts about this game in the comments. Have you played this game yet? And if you have, what have you experienced? Because I know a lot of players, and it is really PC players I'm talking to here, have experienced a lot of problems. I'm one of the very few console players to experience problems actually playing this game so far, but I know that PC players have had an endless list of problems trying to actually get in and play this game, which has not been great. There's been issues with VR, there's been issues with flight sticks. So let me know in the comments your problems with this game, or the things that you've experienced anyway. And I'll see you guys in the next video real soon.